was punished for that. And never again did I speak Spanish in school, at least that year, until I learned that it was definitely okay. And adversities, of course there are. We did not know how to swim. We did not have a bathing suit. But one Saturday, my father took all of us to a little swimming pool. But we went in shorts. And I remember that we had to get out because we weren't dressed appropriately. And we didn't have any money for a bathing suit. We were just playing in the water. But some way, somehow, we were all told that the Ramirez family, you got to get out. That was sad. But I remember how that must have felt. And then the other thing that I remember about adversity is a brand new school was being built in Edinburgh, and it was called Robert E. Lee. I don't know if you know that or not, do you? And we lived out in the country, but that bus, 24, picked up children. We're going to be taking children to Robert E. Lee, except for the Ramirez family. We were supposed to go to Lincoln School. Do you remember that? Lincoln? And Lincoln School was the oldest school in Edinburgh. And all the Mexicanitos would go to Lincoln, and all the Americanitos would go to Robert E. Lee. And then my father said no when he learned about it. And our neighbor, half a mile away, because we did live out in the country, was an American family named the Sherberts. And so my father goes to Mr. Sherbert and asks him, where are your children going to school next year? And he said, Robert E. Lee, that's a brand new school. Okay. So here my father, another day, gets off his tractor and he tells my mother, I'm going into Edinburgh and I'm going to go talk to somebody because that's wrong. If this route needs to go to Lincoln, then everybody needs to go to Lincoln. But if this route goes to Robert E. Lee except for my children, then that's wrong. And he fought for us, and we did go to the new school. And that was the right thing to do, though. That was the right, because we were worthy of that. And that was wrong to just assume that because we were Hispanics that we were not worthy of the new school. What I tell kids about success is you become accountable. I don't become accountable for you. You become accountable for you. But it's not just about school, it's about life. And I look at, was I accountable to make sure that I got here on time? Absolutely. And do I talk to the high school students and to some little kids that I work with about behavior? Absolutely. My own grandkids, you're accountable for what you said. Well, but she pushed me first, and I said, I know, but you said a bad word to her, and that's accountability, and you have to deal with it. And so I tell that to students, and today I had this most awesome autistic third grader, and I was doing an evaluation on him, developing an IQ measurement on him. But if you know anything about autism, they don't like to be touched. And they don't like to be social, and the eye contact, that doesn't mean that they don't like you. That just means that that's uncomfortable for them. And as I was working with him, and he had the most appropriate name was Christian, and I would say, okay, it's time to get started. But I knew that to touch him, he would not like that. So I had to be accountable about how I directed him so that I could get a reading on his IQ. And it took me all day with one child. But I wanted to make sure that I did the right thing for him, and that's when I write my name on a report, I've got to make sure I did the right thing. What I want to do for the future is I developed this company called Family and Behavior Interventions, and I did it because of Abelito. My schedule to get up at 6:40, to leave my house at 6:45, to be at work at 7:30, and sometimes not leave till 7 was very hard on him. And I had the pleasure of taking him with me to work, and he would be in the volunteer program. By Wednesday, Thursday, I could see that he was tiring out. And all I could think about was, God, if something happens to him because I pushed him. So I prayed about it and came up with being a bilingual diagnostician. So my business has to do with that. My goal is to make sure that this works so that I can make sure I provide for him. Because as long as I can pay my bills, and I'm not rich, but I'm okay, and I'm finally happy with me after going through a really bad divorce. And I was sharing that with Joe and Veronica and Betty. I know her as Betty, earlier. But that makes me know that if I can do that for Mijito, oh, that's good. Then I've done everything that I need to do. And I tell especially our Hispanic students, you can make the world of difference, or you can choose not to. I'm still going to sleep, and I hope I can sleep in a safe world, but you are the one that has to be available for that. And the best way I can sum it up and close my little speech is Charles Swindoll wrote this thing about attitude. And it is all about our attitude about how this foundation will take off. Will you agree? It's all about attitude. Everybody in here can either make it or break it. And that's what he talks about here. He says, the longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on life. Attitude to me is more important than facts. It is more important than the past, than education, than money, than circumstances, than failures, than success, than what other people think or say or do. It is more important than appearance, giftedness, or skill. It will make or break a company, a church, or a home. The remarkable thing is we have a choice every day regarding the attitude we will embrace for that day. We cannot change our past. We cannot change the fact that people will act in a certain way. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can do is to play on the one string we have, and that is our attitude. I am convinced that life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react to it. Thank you.